and welcome to Crafting in Lion's Den. I'm She. I hope you're doing really well since our last video. I'm going to start off by talking about my change in direction almost. I suppose it's not really a change of direction, I'm just trying to think of the best way to describe it. So anyone who follows me on TikTok or may have noticed that recently I've been getting absolutely slated with anti-resin comments. There's absolutely no denying that resin is terrible for the environment. It's a plastic. Of course it's bad. However, plenty of other art forms are also bad. That doesn't make it right, but it just means we need to be more responsible and mindful when we do use these things. Acrylic paints don't biodegrade, and plenty of other things. Oil paints, plaster, cement art, all of that does not degrade. So it's like, why are you specifically picking on resin at the moment? I don't know. However, in response to that, I do have on my Instagram, on my TikTok, handy tips to help reduce your waste. If you are creating resin pieces, then there are ways to reduce it, because even those overspills when we're doming, there's plenty of waste, isn't there? There's resin, little pieces, bad pieces that have gone wrong, all of that. We don't want to be just chucking it away, because that is adding to the landfill plastic disaster that is our planet right now. So have a look at those videos. If not, what I am going to start doing is uploading some shorts videos of the different techniques and ideas how to recycle, reuse, so that you do reduce your waste. As well as, you've got the sort of regular sort of things like using reusable cups and utensils when mixing resin. Fine, that's great, silicone stuff. Or reusing, like I do, reuse until there is nothing left of your pot. Use it until the end. You've got those sort of standard things, but what I'm trying to promote is more creative ways to reduce your waste from resin. Anyway, I will be uploading some, so keep an eye out if that is something that interests you. There are already some up on my TikTok and my Instagram. Yes. Anyway, on to today then. We're going to make this little beauty here. Look at that. So that is this is the Jesmonite tray, and I've used a couple of different techniques that I've already shown you in other videos, but I've just put them all together and created this little beaut. I really like this little pearly detailing along the sides. It just gives it that little oh, I'm fancy. Woo! Shimmer. Yeah. So we'll get to the video. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, anything, and I will see you next time. Any questions you leave in the comments, I will get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Bye. So first I've got my mould, and I'm just going to fill in the rim of the mould. This is because I don't want it all floating around, and I just feel like I've got a little bit better control, because it's all one level surface once the rim of the tray is filled up. So you leave that to dry. While that's drying, I've got my glow powder. This is the same glow powder that I used in the ghosty and the pentagram candle holder video. If you haven't seen them, check them out. And we're going to combine, like I said in the intro, we're going to combine a few techniques to create this tray. So I'm dabbing this glow powder into the mould, and I'm trying to make it look moony, because as we saw in the last videos, it sort of glows a little bit more here and there depending on how much you put there. So I wanted to make it look like a cratery moon. I've just put plain Jesmonite in and left it to dry. Popped it out, and look, you can see there, it looks like there's craters on it. So I'm going to put that face down onto the tray, and I'm going to weight it down using a mould. I'm filling the rest of the tray up with plain black Jesmonite, making sure I get all around that little moon that's in there. Don't want big gaps. And it's also good to maybe put weight or something inside the mould or whatever you use to weight it down, because the less the less the Jesmonite seeps in around it, then the easier it's going to be to deal with. The problem with using the glow powder is if you try and sand it, you're going to take all of it off, so you really don't want to be hiding any of the edges. So have a good weight pushing down on that moon. And there's a little piece of my pot that's fallen out for an old bit of Jesmonite. Let's just get that out of there. There we go. I'm not entirely sure why I did plain white Jesmonite to top up the tray, but I did. There's literally no rhyme or reason to it. I don't know what I was doing, so I just decided to use white instead of black to top it up. So again, I'm just smoothing around the moon, trying to get it all nice and one level. So it's no big deal if you don't fill it all the way to the top. You can literally just sand the back down when you're finished. So I left this to dry. You can see that where the mould was holding down that moon, it's left a little indentation, which we'll need to sand down. And there we go. It's kept its little moony shape there. So what I'm doing is the technique that we saw in Sunday's video, the little ghosty. So I'm outlining it in my metallic pen, and thankfully there wasn't too much seepage going on, and what did seep has actually added to the moon effect by making it look like craters going around, which I quite like actually. Yeah, so it's not just one round circle blazing in the sky, it's a cratery moon. Happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got my embossing pad, and I've got a stamp of some lightning. And we went through this technique in the video with the cat tray, which if you didn't see, have a look. It's on my played videos or whatever it is, the list of video. So you want to make sure your stamp is covered in your embossing thingy, and can you see where there's like big gaps of where the designers were? That's what I didn't be careful of, and I wasn't mindful of that. So I'm pressing down on the whole thing, and then when I lift it up, you can see it's left a splodge in between the actual lines of the lightning bolts. There we go, big splodges. And I was like, oh no, am I going to get this off now? I thought, okay, let's just cover it in the powder first, see how it looks. So this is the embossing powder that reacts with heat, and I'm just tipping it all over the embossing ink. So that dries quickly, so it's important that you do get that powder on there quite quickly after you stamp it. And now I'm shaking off the excess onto my piece of paper, and I'll pour that back in the tub because we don't waste, we like to reuse, yeah. It's also, I don't like wasting money, so this way I'm just saving it. Makes good sense, right? It makes good sense. Anyway, so that's the powder back in the pot. Back to our tray. So you can really see now where I've messed it up and managed to get the embossing liquid pad stamp ink thing and powder on there. So I'm just using a cotton bud to get rid of that excess bits there, because we don't want that, because if we do emboss that, we're going to end up with exactly that, splodges everywhere. We don't want that. We want nice lightning bolts that you can tell are lightning bolts. So just get rid of that powder as best we can, and that's much better. See here, I noticed that the bit where we've taken off that extra powder has left it quite dark, and I was a bit concerned that I wasn't sure what was going to happen there if I left it dark. Is it going to be really noticeable or not? But I was just sort of going with it and hoping for the best at this stage. Just clean it up and emboss it, and we'll deal with whatever is left after. But yeah, so now that looks lightning-like, and I think that is a winner. Now that it's all off, I've got my heat tool, and I'm just heating up that powder, and it should liquefy it and turn it into that nice embossed metallic sheen. So I've chosen a white powder, in case you hadn't noticed, this time, because I don't want it to be like flash lightning, yeah. So it's a white powder, and it should look like just a liquidy white metal, I suppose, because the silver looks metally. Don't know, is there a white metal? Don't know, my mind's wandered. All right, bringing it back. Sorry about that. So, yeah, this bit was a little bit frustrating because the end of my heat gun is so wonky that I don't really know where the heat's going sometimes. So I'm just sort of hoping for the best. Just going over it again with that cotton bud, trying to make sure that those lines are crisp. And we're going back again for more embossing ink. This time I've got little batty bats. And I'm going to stamp little batty bats onto that tray. I've got one little dude there. Oh, look how cute he is. And I was thinking, let's have three. Three's a party. I know they say it's a crowd, but nah, three's a party. And the last one there. For this one, I was thinking I want to keep it sort of silhouette-like. So I'm using a black embossing powder. Same thing, I'm just going to tip it over the bats. And because the lightning bolt is already dry and embossed, we don't need to worry about that because it's not going to reactivate or anything. Once it's done, it's done. I'm just getting off the excess again where parts of the stamp have touched the tray. You see there, I was a little bit worried still about the lightning not looking good, but I'll try not to get distracted too much and just get on with it. So there we go, our little batty bats there, ready to be heated up and cooked onto the plate. And these were quite easy. The black responded really well to the heat, or I just pointed the heat in the right direction this time. I don't know which one it was. Either way, something went right and it worked really nicely. You can see that heating up and melting in front there. Love it. And that solidifies, and that is it. That is permanently on there now, unless you sand it off. So I was thinking this looked a bit empty. And I had that little sheet of half pearls. And I thought, let's give this a try. So I got some matte Mod Podge. I do love my Mod Podge. And I'm going to put it onto the rim of the tray. I thought, give it a nice little pearly look, give it a bit of class and jazz it up. I didn't have any diamantes that were that size, otherwise I'd probably have stuck them on there as well. I do love a bit of sparkle. So I'm just doing a thin line there of Mod Podge. Don't want to go too overboard. Although this does dry clear and it says matte, it's not going to ever match the complete matteness of untreated Jesmonite. So that's something to be mindful of, that you don't drop it or spill it onto the tray as you're doing it, because as you can see, I am so clumsy and so messy that I always end up dropping things. Oh, it's terrible. So this bit's a little bit time consuming. I'm just going to stick on each of these little pearl thingies. They are self-adhesive backed, but I didn't trust that to be strong enough to just stick that straight onto the tray. And I thought some Mod Podge will keep it there and it will be a lot harder to get them off if it's accidentally knocked or something like that. So I'm just placing them into the glue podge, I guess you call it just a podge. Leaving it in the podge and just to dry. And I'm going to do the whole rim. I'm working my way around it a little bit at a time. That was a bit of a long line I did there to start with, wasn't it, of glue. But thankfully they're coming off the sheet really quickly and easily so that I could just pull them off and stick them on there. Is anyone else excited about Halloween yet? Do you know tomorrow it's actually like Halloween officially? I know it's like the 1st of October, but that's Halloween, a fish. So anyone else excited? I went and got like so much stuff last year and I can't wait to pull it out and just decorate everything. Filling in that last little pearly there, and you had to add some more glue because it dried out because it had taken me so long. This is sped up. It was way longer in real time. There we go. Adding that little bit of Mod Podge, not too much. So I just carried on and did this the entire way around the tray, then left it to dry. After it was dried, I gave it a quick coat of oil, and this is the final piece. Oh, it's so cute, isn't it? Now the test is, what does it look like in the dark? Pretty good, I'd say. I really like that Halloweeny glamour right there. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Bye.